Dumalang Sambanani, South Africa. A very warm welcome to Expressions. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
Sinibengele sinamukele mina ngumxolisi wakwaMasango. Now umuntu omusha, we continue as Expressions to have conversations abaluleke kakhulu. Njoba sazi ukuthi kuma local government elections voter turnout ikakhulukazi elusheni was quite low, Jackie. So as Expressions we've endeavored to ensure ukuthi sixhumanisa nolusha who are making and looking at other avenues of making a change emphakathini yangakibo. Namhlanje we're looking at active citizenry. Let's take you to the first story.
Now, he describes himself as a social engineer, a social justice activist, as well as an aspiring human rights lawyer. Who am I speaking about? Of course, I'm speaking about Usilomo Khumalo. Now, he is a phenomenal young person who is championing the rights of people living with disabilities. Let's go inside and meet him and find out what meaningful change means to him. Usilomo, a very, very warm welcome to Expressions. Thank you so very much for sitting down and having this chat with us. But let's start right at the beginning. I think especially for the viewers who are watching, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I started having eye difficulties from the age of 4. So I was going to doctors and on a regular checkup, and then I think it was December of 1996 where they discharged me and they said, no, they think my eye condition has improved, and the following year it sort of deteriorated very badly, and then from there I just turned blind. Many children with disabilities happen to have to leave home at a young age because they have to go to special schools and whatnot, and you get in the special school where you don't necessarily have the same kind of care that you had when you're back with your family. So I think from there, that's why I sort of wanted to be a human rights lawyer, and my passion is on education, like primarily inclusive education, because if we are to realize true inclusive education, there will be no need for children to have to leave home and go to special schools.
Please just also talk to us about, the organization that you are a part of. Who exactly are you targeting, and how many people have you managed to impact?
I'm a chairperson of the Mobility for the Blind Trust, which is an organization that focuses on training people who just recently experienced their blindness. So we have about 5, we call them O&M practitioners. So these are sort of trained people that go into communities and train blind people independent. When you just get blind, you sort of get scared, and you feel like you can't do anything. You don't feel like you can live an independent life. Like you see here, I'm staying alone. So that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to give blind people an opportunity to live meaningful lives without having to depend on someone else. So a year we access up to about more than 200 people in a year. We go into rural communities and identify people that need help.
As we are commemorating, National Disability Rights Awareness Month, what does this time actually mean to you, and why is it important for it to be commemorated?
Disability Awareness Month is about the change of attitudes. So the reason why people with disabilities experience disabilities is because of the attitudes of society. Because people have impairments particularly. The disability is created it's a social construct. It's created by society. So if we were to change attitudes, then we will have a society that is more inclusive, and that is more progressive in all its facets.
Our poll question on Expressions is, can young people create meaningful change in their communities?
Yes, we as young people need to be active in our own spaces. For example, the fact that I work for the Department for Women, Youth and Persons with Disability, that is the space that I have found as a platform to be active in order to contribute meaningfully in society. So whether you're in business, whether you're in government, whether you're in civil society, we need to find that space and contribute meaningfully in the transformation of our country.
So for all the young people out there who are watching you and they're inspired by your story, what are your words of encouragement to them?
Something that has been a guiding part of my life is perseverance. We are required as young people to persevere and be resilient and face the challenges that are facing our country.
Ulusha lingazisa ushintsho emphakathini. Mawukuthi labantu abadala abaphambili bangabe basinika ichance nathi siyilusha.
Umuntu ona 50 or 60 aka step down emsebenzini. Umsebenzi uthi si apply from 18 to 35. Si reach ama 35 singasebenzi.
Sifundile cha manje. Imisebenzi ayikho njengobona kukanjena nje yabo. Sifundile wona manje imisebenzi lo engekho.
Even no government wethu yakhona usinikeza ichance siye ema-varsity siye ema-college sifundele for izinto esizifunayo but masiqeda singasebenzi. So angiyiboni mina ikhona into esizoyichange.
Fascinating insights there from young people. I have to say I'm inspired by today's show. See Expressions, we are asking what change are you making in Mphakathini Wangagini as we are speaking to young people who are making a positive change in Mphakathini Yangagibo. What do you have to say about the conversations we're having? Do communicate with us in Nkundleni Zethu Zokuxhumana. We are back right after this.
If you just joined us, a very warm welcome to Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. We are putting a spotlight on young people who are making an impact in the spaces that they occupy, young people who are making meaningful change. Now we're going to be meeting Ufazan and Spusiso. Let's take a look at how they are changing their spaces. We are in Soweto. We are going to be meeting a social entrepreneur by the name of Spusiso Ntuli. He is reshaping and redefining the space that he's in, and he is definitely creating meaningful change. Let's go and have a chat with him. So a very warm welcome to Expressions. Thank you so very much for having this chat with us. Please specify for us just some of the work or the projects that you've actually undertaken or initiated in your community.
It pains me to say that this initiative started, like Cleaner Soweto started when it was during the uproar or the unrest during the looting in June. And it was very embarrassing to see that the community was still destructive. And I felt that with my partners, it is about time we take action. It is about time we represent the change we want to see. And it was important for us to get organized. You know, they say that disruption can only exist in confusion. And we realized that, you know, if people are complaining about poverty, we need to understand what causes the poverty and not respond to the results of the poverty, which is disconnected initiatives that are socially based but ineffective in the longevity because they are not sustainable. We cannot keep on promoting a grant-based solution in a debt-based economy. It is about time we start taking initiatives into our own hands and become regenerative in our endeavors to make change. The township economy is a very commercialized topic right now, and it is about time we actually close off to the rest of the world and start focusing and fixing our house before we start looking at external solutions to fix local problems. It's not going to take a campaign to solve our problems. It's going to take deep psychological and spiritual work and more cohesiveness to get Africans on board with each other so that they can become the change that they want to see.
Spoo, what is it that actually motivated you to enter into this particular space?
I believe that what inspired me is the fact that In a world where there's so much dysfunction, where there's so much disjoint and disunity, I could be a little light that could spread onto another and light another candle where somebody could also be inspired to light another.
So Sibu, our poll question on Expressions is, can young people create meaningful change in their communities? And what is your opinion when it comes to that?
Can young people create meaningful change within their communities? The answer is yes. Fortunately enough, I think we've seen every single example of what bad leadership looks like. And I think it's about time that we don't rush to implement certain solutions, but we need to integrate. You know, we need to integrate with our elders, and we need to understand the relationship between young people and old people. You know, innovative ideas and experience can go a long way. We don't need to become disrespectful in our solutions, and we need to adjust the tone a little bit. You know, we need to understand that the relationship of cohesive Africa or cohesive united Africa is based on a principle of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the thing that we have forgotten the most, and we need to respect each other a little bit more so we can get ahead a little bit further.
And to all the young people out there who are inspired by you, what words of encouragement would you like to give them so that they can make or at least create meaningful changes in their own communities?
To young people who want to create meaningful change, it is important to think. It is important to understand. It is important to analyze. Don't overthink, don't overanalyze, and don't overdo. Don't overcommit, and take your time. The world is not going anywhere, and neither is the things that you see on Instagram. They'll still be there tomorrow, and better yet, create those things.
You're watching Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. We are putting a very important spotlight on young people who are making meaningful change. We're all the way in Boisens. We're going to be speaking to an extremely accomplished young person by the name of Fazan Azor. He is an author, he is an academic, he is a social activist. Let's go inside and meet him and have this very important conversation. Come with me. Fazan, a very warm welcome to Expressions. Thank you so very much for sitting down and having this chat with us. But just as a start, tell us a little bit about who you are and just give us an understanding of what it is that you do.
Where we're sitting right here, what I do is to help these young people. I think you saw them when you came in, to help them be the best of the best, because that's what I believe in. I don't believe in average, right? So most of the young people that I have opportunity of teaching them here, most of them they're from Ethiopia, right? And some of them they're South Africans, of course. And most of the things we teach them here are the basic subjects from school. You know, that psychology of saying mathematics is hard. Most of them have that. So we concentrate on mathematics.
So, Fazan, what is it that actually motivated you to enter into this particular space?
It is so disheartening if somebody has everything and do not know that they have everything, and people mock you for not having. Meanwhile, they know that you have, but it's only you that doesn't know that you have. That has been our reality as Africans. If you look at the 54 countries all over Africa, our fate is the same. We're suffering in the midst of plenty. If I have children tomorrow, am I happy with the kind of society that I'm going to grow in? If I'm not happy, anything that is making you unhappy, that is a trigger to you to fight forward. Our target is to be the best of the best in our schools. Is that okay? Yes. So in everything you do, make sure you score 100. Is that okay? Yes. So we say no to what? Average. You still remember that? Say no to average. Say no to...
Talk to us about your book. You know, what is your book about? Why did you even write this particular book?
Okay, the name of my book is The 40 Voters Commandment. This is the one we're talking about right now. Right? So the reason why I wrote that book was I just want the message that I have to be heard. I have been to 211 high schools in South Africa, trying to tell young people that it is possible for us to live the dream of the African that we want to live. The 40 Voters Commandment, every commandment that I put in there is for the benefit of the citizen. And I say it over and over again, if young people could follow, because to me, this is more than just a book. It is like I want to rewrite the history of Africa. I want people to believe that there is hope for us because we got everything. And to me, it is no more a dream. It has become a reality. It reflects on my mind 1,000 times a day how to create a better Africa.
Tell us about just some of the commandments that you have in your book.
Now, one of the commandments that is very close to my heart is no matter how poor they have made us, we shouldn't sell our integrity to them. This is the reality of every common black person there. The reason why I can just give my vote to somebody who do not deserve it is because he flashed 100 rand in my face. The other one that is also very important to me is it shouldn't be about what he will give to you when he ascends to power. It should be about what he will do to the society. If we look at other communities, they think collectively. They don't think individually, right? If you give me the 50,000 rand, it's gonna finish. But if you build a road from my village to the city, that road is gonna be there forever. Another commandment said, it shouldn't be that he goes to the same church or your family member that you should give him your vote. But it should be about his or her capability to rule the people that determine whether you give him your vote or not.
And the poll question for our show is that, can young people lead meaningful change? And what is your answer to that?
The answer is yes. There has never been any form of liberation that happened without the energy of the young people and the wisdom of the elderly. So always, but one thing that young people must know is that any change, any struggle that is fueled by hate and revenge will not stand.
And to the young people who are watching the show, what would you like to say to them?
You see, the greatest lie that we have come to believe as a people is the lie that said government can do everything for the citizens. That is not true. Even the best government on earth cannot do everything for the people. No matter how people are struggling to build structures, to live a better life, if they do not have a good leadership, their effort will be frustrated. So in the democratic country, voting is important. I don't care how strong the leader is. If people are united, and they say we are tired of this particular person, no matter how powerful you are, you will answer to them. So voting is very, very, very important.
Well, you're still watching Expressions Qhubekela Phambili with these all-important conversations. uMasibuya, what do you have to say? Do interact with us.
Welcome back. You are still watching Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. Today we are putting a very important spotlight on young people who are making meaningful change in the spaces that they occupy or in their communities that they live in. Right now we're going to be having a conversation with Oluvuyo Manyi, who is making a difference in the business and economic spaces. Let's take a look at the conversation that he had with Umqo.
Hello, Oluvuyo. Welcome to Expressions. It's great to have you on the program. Please tell us about some of the work that you do.
My passion stems from the fact that as a young nation in South Africa and a young nation on the continent, we're faced with a plethora of issues. My expertise come predominantly on the entrepreneurship development side, but I've also then realized that it's not a problem that lives in isolation. There's a lot of systemic issues that kind of build into that. Access to skills, access to opportunities from a job creation perspective, and growing youth-owned businesses. So really the work that I do with a number of these structures and colleagues, and even in my business, is designed around developing an ecosystem and environment for fair and hopefully equitable participation of young people.
You just spoke about a very key factor to the conversations that we're having today, and that is impact. Talk to us about some of the lives that you've changed and touched.
So through the structure like the BBC, we try to be that big brother and open up doors of opportunity. And these are a lot of the interventions we try to build. I don't think I'll ever be satisfied with the work that has been done until effectively every young person has been impacted. Now that's truly my big, just cause for the rest of my life around how do we impact the lives of young people.
So you just spoke about the importance of having a zeal and the drive to ensure that yonke into okhuluma ngayo takes flight. Talk to us about what motivates you.
My just cause came when I lost my business for the first time, and there was no help around, and truly lost sight of who I was as a young person. And it was in that loss that I found my actual just cause. Say, I don't want people to go through what I went through. My just cause is to be that person that I needed growing up in my early 20s, but being that person as an institution. So creating a framework to ensure that when help is required, there's actually places to go.
So now on the program today, we are asking whether can young people lead meaningful change in the country?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think there needs to be decisiveness to claim our space as young people. We've got the intellect, we've got the capacity. What we are lacking is coordination and collaboration. And that's something we then need to encourage, that across all facets of society, political, economical, academic, and so forth, and civil society, there needs to be collaboration as young people across those spaces to truly drive change. And I think when there's that position in mind, having an economic Ubuntu, as I'd call it, then I think definitely we'll see our world change. And young people, we can do it.
There are some young people who, first of all, want access to the channels that you spoke about, and some young people who are thinking of starting something. Njengamanje, what would you say to them?
I always say there's always something in your hands that you can use. It may not be money, it may be friends, it may be a particular passion, but you've always got something that you have that is unique to you, that you can offer to the world. That's one. Two, I believe in partnership and collaboration. So what you don't have, you can always find in somebody else, and try understand what you're lacking and bolster that with somebody else out there. And most definitely to please reach out to institutions like the Youth Economic Alliance and the Black Business Council, because we are trying to essentially grow an army of brilliant young minds across the different spaces of the economy. And I think where there's lack, we can certainly find solutions for young people and look into how in different ways we can work together.
Simko, we've come to the end of today's episode, and I think as much as it's important for young people obviously to participate in the electoral process in this country, it's also very important for them to be active, to understand that they themselves can make a difference. And we've tried to showcase young people across different spheres who are making a difference in the lives of their communities. And I hope as a young person, Kochai, you are encouraged to know that you have the power to make the change that you want to see in your own community. Right, Mko?
Absolutely, Jackie. Sibonge kakhulu for all your participation ey'nkundleni zethu zokuxhumana on our today's conversations. From all of us here at Expressions, till next time, and sale kahle.